welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of I Made My Sim Live Like It's Certain Year, and today we're doing the 1990s.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the away.
The 1990s was an absolutely amazing time to live, and arguably it was when the technological revolution really came into our homes. The internet as we know it today came out into our lives in about the early 90s.
On your mark, get set. We're riding on the internet, cyberspace, set free. Hello, virtual reality.
90s, and this completely changed the way we interact with media. For example, with the rise of things like Napster, music became free, easy, and illegal to use. But as well as this, with the rise of TV shows like MTV in the 80s, music also came into our households a lot more, and this was really reinvigorated in the 90s, with music often influencing fashion and fashion often influencing music. For example, one of the great trends of the 90s, which we will be touching on today, is the grunge trend. This trend is often what we think of when we think of bands like Nirvana and the lead singer Kurt Cobain. That very grungy, dirty look was a very popular look in the 1990s. This led to culture, fashion and lifestyle all becoming more homogenous and becoming into one because of how easy it is to share different types of media, interact with different types of music, see different types of fashion. It all became one Western fashion. On the same topic of music, the 80s also saw the real rise of R&B, and the 90s only solidified this further, with R&B bands really becoming prominent within the music scene.
Considered a fool cause I dropped out of high school. Stereotypes of a black male misunderstood. And it's still all good, Dear mama,
Place no one above you.
you all appreciate it.
And this was arguably a great success for African Americans. I'd say towards the end of the 1900s was the time when African culture and fashion and hairstyles really came to the forefront of the media and started to become fashionable. This is problematic. I'm not going to say that it's not, because as we see now with cultural appropriation, it definitely has its bad side. But the end of the 1900s saw a time when you could wear your hair in an afro and feel beautiful. Now obviously I am not an African American woman, I'm not an African woman, I am a white English girl, so I can't speak on behalf of African Americans or Africans or anybody else from any other race. I can't even speak for my own race. There was also the shift from family values, which we saw a lot in the middle part of the 1900s, to a more millennial, as we hear it today all the time, to a more millennial shift. The focus was on you, yourself as a person. It was all quite hedonistic, which we can see in programs like Friends, Seinfeld. It all focuses around young adults trying to make the way in the world. This is because of the rise of feminism. A lot more women were going out and finding jobs and making careers for themselves and not just becoming someone who worked at home. However, there was also some downsides. I'm not going to go into the downsides too much because this is not a full, complete evaluation of it, but also the rise of terrorism was also beginning, such as the World Trade Center and Oklahoma City bombings. This led to terrorism kind of becoming solidified into the Western narrative. There was also the Columbine massacre at the end of the 1990s, which was a horrific event. So from a quick Google, as we can see, the fashion of the time definitely was very grungy. Oh my god, I have that top. Anyway, you kind of didn't want to look clean. That was not the effect of the 90s that you were trying to achieve. But also, it was a real time of butterfly clips and a lot of skin showing. As we can all probably tell right now, because 90s fashion is coming back into the forefront and everybody is wearing 90s fashion right now. But it's a lot of belly tops, cropped skirts, strappy dresses, and let's not forget tracksuit bottoms and dungarees. I just want to say in advance that there might be some significant increase in the mic quality because I realised I had it turned round the whole time, so this side was always really echoey, but then this side is the actual side. Apologies for that, but now I want to create a sim, and I've actually had to utilise Alpha CC. Don't hate me. I've had to do it. So I'll join you back in a second once I'm complete. So I decided to go with the two main styles of that time, and that mainly being sporty and grunge. So the first thing I have to show you kind of represents that sporty vibe. I'm not sure how well I've got it. I did decide to get this hair off Sims Resource, and I tried to put some like baby hairs on the front, but it didn't work too well, and now it looks a little bit weird without it. But I'm going to leave it without it so it won't have like the harsh gap. The hair's kind of influenced by a hair that I saw when I was researching the hair and fashion and everything like that of the time. The makeup is very simple. Makeup was very glossy and very simple during this time. It was a very minimalist time. The top is just a little kind of, I don't know, people wear these now and it's kind of like, is it 2000s? is it 90s, but I think it carried on from the 90s. So just a little crop top, and these were very fashionable, like with the cuts not being a straight down the shoulder cut, they were very fashionable. And tattoos were also a big thing at this time, so I gave her some little bird tattoos as well. And then for the trousers, we just have these athletic pants, which we call tracksuit. I just gave her these bright ones because it was a more refined time than the 80s, but the colour hadn't completely gone. Like the colours in the 90s are there's still something, but they're quite tame compared to the 80s. And then to pair with that, I've just had some trainers on it. And then the other sim represents the grunge style, and she could step straight out of 2018, to be honest. So I decided to go with a more darker makeup look because I wanted it to look quite dirty and unwashed. And then I've got this grungy kind of hairstyle with a bun and then some plaits down here with some circle glasses because these were also a thing. And then I've got a kind of just distressed jumper on, a very alpha jacket, which you wouldn't usually find in my collection, but I wanted something that was looked like it had been thrown on, so this is an accessory rather than an actual piece. We take this off, the jumper is just this ripped kind of jumper too. The skirt as well, I liked this black skirt, I don't know, I thought it fit in with it well. And then obviously a pair of fishnet tights to go with the grunge look and some boots. So that is the creator sim all in all. I think I've done an okay job, I'm not too sure. So I'd say that the speed build was actually probably one of the hardest things about this challenge because the 90s isn't so detached from our lives right now. So I was kind of putting things in and I was like, am I doing this just because I remember this in my house, or is this actually a 90s thing? So halfway through I had to be like, Googling 90s living room and 90s kitchen and stuff like that. But basically, although there was a lot of colours, the 90s was also very beige. It's kind of a weird time because there was such a mix of the two things. There was such a mix of colour and such a mix of minimalism. So it was kind of hard to decipher what should go where. But the kitchen was a very, very plain dark wooded kitchen, which I'm pretty sure is quite reminiscent of the 80s and 90s times and stuff like that. I also included nearly in every room, whatchamacallit, I can't remember the name of them. The things that play music. Where has my English gone? I can't remember what they're called. But stereos? I don't think that's what we call them in England, but yeah, I included one of them in every single room because obviously people were listening to music, people were interacting with it in a different way, so it was very, very big. And I did try to include the CD things, the little clutter items, but they weren't unlocked and I couldn't remember the cheat, and try as I might, I tried to put that cheat in but I could not get it. And the living room as well, I included a television. I was gonna include a flat screen and I had to stop myself and I was like, what am I doing? It's a 90s build. So I just went with the proper big back TVs. And can anyone else remember them? There used to be monitors like that, there used to be TVs like that. Like I'm going back in the 90s, maybe early 90s, when I used to play The Sims on a computer screen and it had a big back, and if the light was shining on the screen in any way, you couldn't play it. And I remember having to sit with a cover over my head and over the screen just so there wouldn't be any glare from the sun because it just turned grey. And the same with the big TVs as well, and they used to have so much static that if you went near them you could physically feel it with your hands, like the static, and you could give each other electric shocks. It was great. The 90s was a great time. The technology definitely has changed massively though. Like it's crazy to think how far we've come in such a short amount of time. So yes, definitely very, very crazy, but I did enjoy that. And it's I find enjoyment in looking back at stuff like this because this was my generation. I am a 90s child, so it's very fun for me, very fun. But for the bedrooms as well, I kind of struggled with the sporty one, to be honest. I didn't really know what to put in it, so I just went for like the general beige kind of vibe. But for the grunge room, I put my all into that one. I didn't do it too massively because it's not like for a speed build or anything, it's just for this video. But I didn't want the grunge room to look pretty, and I think that's something that I'm definitely taking away out of the 90s and the 2000s. I didn't want it to look like, oh my god, such a perfectly presentable room and it looks so great. Because the 90s and the 90s kind of, they weren't like that. They weren't like how it is now where everything looks great and if you take a photo of it, it's great. It was a different time. Your bedrooms weren't a place to they were a place to style, but they weren't a place to make something look Instagram worthy, should I say. So all of the furniture is just kind of shot about. It doesn't look great. The plan of it could be a lot better, but that's kind of how it was. So I wanted to retain that style. I wanted everything to kind of look flung there, not styled in a certain way. So I really enjoyed the grunge room. That's why there's like 3 different types of chairs that don't really go with each other and a table that doesn't really go with each other, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. And for the bathroom as well, I'm not just crazy putting in that kind of colour bathroom, okay? I'm not just crazy. I don't know how it was in America, but these type of bathrooms were very popular in England. My uncle still has an avocado bathroom. So that's the speed build all in all. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely had some difficulty with it. I didn't want to make it too modern, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. I'm going to leave you with this beautiful sing-song. I hope you enjoyed this video. I do have other videos like this, so I'll leave the playlist down below. I've done the 1850s, the 1500s, and the 1960s, so I'm going to leave you here. I love you all very, very much. Oh, wow, my camera moved. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.